Teresa Love here. Thank you so much for clicking. My shirt says, "It's a good day to read a book." That would be perfect for some booktube videos. So for today's video, I wanted to do my favorite books of 2020. I read a ton of amazing books in 2020. As you saw in my other video, I read 94 books. So I made a list of 22 books that were my favorite, and I would love to just talk to you a little bit about each one. So sit back and relax, grab some tea and maybe a snack, and let's get into the video. So the first book I read is Cinder by Marissa Meyer. This is book 1 in the Lunar Chronicles series, and this follows Cinder, who is a cyborg / human. This is a sci-fi novel. She fixes machines. That's what her job is. And one day Prince Kai, who is the prince of the kingdom, comes in and needs his android fixed. So that she helps him out fixing the android. And I really didn't think I would like sci-fi because I don't like Star Wars or Star Trek or anything. And then I read Cinder and I was so into the story. I was just I just need more sci-fi in my life. I even asked people online, I was like, okay, I need more sci-fi books. What should I read? And I got a bunch of options. But I am planning to read more sci-fi, so I'm hoping to continue with this series. Next book I read is Shatter Me by Tahereh Mafi. This is book 1 in the Shatter Me series. I have talked about this book so many times on this channel and so many times on my bookstagram at Teresa Loves Books. It's amazing. It's dystopian meets supernatural, and we have Juliet, she was born with the ability that when she touches someone, she can cause pain. And there's just this intense need for her to be touched, but when she touches someone, she gets hurt. So she's been trapped in this asylum for years, and it's crazy. There's twists and turns, and we meet Warner, who is one of my book boyfriends, and Kenji, who is an awesome side character, and Adam, who's an awesome side character. And it says, I have a curse. No, I have a gift. I am more of a monster. No, I'm more of a human. My touch is lethal. My touch is power. I am their weapon. I will fight back. That just explains how it is. It's Tahereh Mafi writes in this way that you just feel like it's as if your anxiety has has a mind of its own. Throughout the book, there are words and then they're crossed out. There's literally a line. I don't know if you can see it. Can you see that? There's literally a line through the words, and it's she thinks something, but then she doesn't want to think it, and she is good, but she's not good. If you like dystopian, if you like supernatural elements, if you like enemies to lovers, go read this book. Go read this whole series and then scream about it with me, because I'm still obsessed. Book 2 is Shatter. Next we have Divergent by Veronica Roth. This is book 1 in the Divergent series. This was my first time reading Divergent. I know, I'm late to the game. I should have read it when I was 15, but I didn't, because I didn't like to read. But so good. Again, dystopian. It reminded me a lot of Matched, which is one of my favorite series, ever. So it was so good. Follow Triss, and when she turns a certain age, I can't remember, it might be 15 or 16, you have to be placed into a certain faction. And there are 4 factions. We have Abnegation, Erudite, Dauntless, Amity, and Candor. And each one has a different career, and based on your personality and how you are as a person, you get put in these factions. But to get in these factions, you have to have this test, and it's a different test for everyone, and it's so good. I just remember flipping through the pages and just what's gonna happen. I read the whole series, all of them were 5, of course, except for the last one, which you know what happens. But yeah, it's amazing. Go read it. To All the Boys I've Loved Before by Jenny Han. Okay, so this cover just explains how this book is. It is a YA contemporary. We follow Laura Jean, who she ends up writing throughout her life. She writes love letters to her crushes, which I feel like I might have done this, but I don't think I kept them. And she keeps these letters. Well, one day her little sister Kitty decides that she's mad at her for something. So she ends up sending out these letters to these boys that she has had crushes on. And we're not talking like, you're cool. It's like, oh, I've always wanted to date you. You're so handsome. And like just all this like flowery language. It's like a love letter. And she ends up getting them sent, and she's at school, and one of the guys has the letter, and he's like, what is going on? Anyway, it's so cute. It's like a warm cinnamon roll hugging you the whole time. You just feel butterflies and first loves, and then we have a fake dating trope, which is really fun, and then we have Team Peter or Team John, so there's that type of thing, but yeah, it's good. It's cute. The movies are amazing too. Amazing. Next we have Nightshade by Andrea Cremer. This is book 1/book 4 in the Nightshade series. This is about a girl pack wolf, alpha pack wolf, who is becoming alpha in her pack. Her name is Kala. She's grown up as a werewolf, and she's going to be transferring into like the alpha pack has to marry the other alpha, so she's getting ready to marry him. But it's supernatural. There's just so much awesome things that happen in this book. Lovable characters. You know, you're constantly fighting like who's she gonna choose, or where, you know, what is she gonna do next. There's like a secret hidden magic system underneath it all. Like there's, bad guys. Like, oh, it's just so good. She risked her life to save his, believing she'd never see him again. So she ends up saving a human. And of course that is against the pack rules, because you don't want the human to know that she's a werewolf. But he has returned, challenging her destiny as Alpha Wolf, leaving her doubting her past and fearing her future. It sounds amazing. I mean, doesn't it? Amazing. All right, we have a remaining Aileen by Autumn Lindsay. This is one of my friends on Bookstagram. She's amazing, is one thing. She's awesome. Her Bookstagram is just inspiring, and she's always helping other authors, and like so cute. Her deck that her husband has made, she's like making it like the colon deck, and she's like doing like TikToks with it and reels, and putting like the music like Turning Page and like different Twilight songs to it. Okay, remaining Aileen. We have Aileen, who is, I want to say like in her 30s, and she is a mother and she has a husband. She has 2 kids. She ends up getting in a plane crash sitting next to a very hot guy. And through that plane crash, she ends up turning into a vampire. Okay, if you like Twilight, read this book. If you like grown-up version of Twilight, read this book. Like, okay, it has Twilight vibes. The setting is this gorgeous like forest and trees and just like all this like beautiful setting, and she explains everything so well that you just feel like you're in the forest. Oh, it's so good. So this guy she calls him 007 after James Bond, and he ends up possibly finding her and telling her she's a vampire, and then she has to like juggle her life with her relationship with her husband and still taking care of her kids and be a vampire. Like, it's amazing. Okay, go read it. It's amazing. Oh, so good. I know this is taking forever, but I'm having so much fun talking about all these videos. Having so much fun talking about all these books. Okay. Also, I read this when it was the first, I think it was like the first edition, or the like almost, I read this in the first edition on the Kindle, and I bought this recently, and I looked and she had some reviews in the front. And I was just looking through, and I saw my name, and it says Goodreads review. I don't know if you can see that. Focus. Oh, goodness. Yeah, okay. It says, right when I started reading, I felt Twilight vibes, and that continued through the story, which made me ecstatic. It's a debut novel, thrilling paranormal adult fantasy. I was so invested in the story, I just kept turning the pages, craving to know what happened next. Like, my Goodreads reviews in the physical book. Okay, sorry. Next we have Evermore by Alyson Noel. This is book 1 in the series. We follow Everbloom, who is 16 years old. She's in high school and she can see people's auras after, I think like she had an accident or something. Now she can see people's auras. And then she meets Damien, who is a gorgeous, exotic, wealthy guy. And it's, honestly, it's also like Twilight, which, I mean, I'm good with a girl meets boy, girl meets supernatural boy. Like, it's good. It's amazing. Yeah. The selection by Kiera Cass. We have Marissa, it's her name. Prince Maskin has a audition to like audition as many girls that, I think 35 girls that want to, and at the end one will be his princess slash queen. And it's dystopian, and we follow, it's like Bachelor meets dystopian, and we follow Marissa, who's like, I kind of have a guy at home, but I think it would be cool if I could get some food. So she's like hanging on to this guy Coates' tails, just kind of being his friend. But of course he's amazing and this like super debonair, sweet guy. Oh, it's so good. The story is amazing. It's charming, captivating, filled with just the right amount of swoon. Like, adorable. Oh, this is YA. Dead Until Dark by Charlaine Harris. This is book 1 in the Suki Stackhouse series. The show that follows these books is True Blood. I've seen all of that and I love that show, but this is the books and I always wanted to try it. And I found it. And I found the series of these cute covers and I read book 1 and obsessed. Like, obsessed. It's adult fantasy. There's some like, I guess there's some like sexy scenes, so definitely adult. Follows Suki Stackhouse, who has always been able to hear people's thoughts. Like, growing up, she heard everything people thought, and it made her hard to have good friends. It made her hard to have relationships because she would hear what the guy was thinking. And she lives in this like southern, is it Louisiana? It might be Louisiana. It's like Louisiana southern town, and she works at a bar, and vampires have become known. They've come out of hiding because now they can have, I think it's called True Blood actually, which is a fake blood that they can drink now. A vampire comes into her bar. His name is William, and she can't hear his thoughts. And then that night she ends up saving him because people are still trying to kill vampires. But it's so good. So captivating. Of Poseidon by Anna Banks. Book 1 in the Serena series. This follows Emma, who one day her best friend gets attacked by a shark. And based on how she like handles the situation and like tries to like, I don't remember if she punches the shark or something, but she like, you know, kind of fights the shark. Galen and his sister see her and think that she might be one of the Sirena. So it's like, girl meets supernatural boy, boy thinks girl is supernatural, like, it's cute. I like it. It's YA. I picked this up on a whim. I thought the cover looked cute when I saw it at Half Price Books. And now it's like one of my favorite, like I said, one of my favorite books of 2020. Galen is the prince of Serena, sent to find a girl he's heard that can communicate with fish. So they think that she can communicate with fish. When they run into each other, the connection is immediate and powerful. Could this be the girl? After several encounters, Galen is convinced that Emma is the one. Amazing. We have Everneath by Brodi Ashton. This is book 1 in the Everneath series. This follows Nikki, who is banished to the underworld, but it has a mythological spin to it. After she's in the underworld for a certain amount of time, then she goes back to her normal life, and she has to like pretty much figure out how to like deal with her normal life while she's going to be going back to the underworld. It's Oh, it's great. Of course, the guy that had her go to the Underworld is Cole, and he's still trying to get her to come back with him. So there's a lot of drama with that. Nikki only has 6 months to say her goodbyes. She can't find the words for 6 months to make the hardest decision of her life and 6 months to find redemption, if it exists. It's a retelling of Persephone. That's also YA. Halfway through. Next we have Born at Midnight by CC Hunter, book 1 in the Shadow Fall series. This follows Kylie, who she ends up getting in trouble at school or at a party, and her mom sends her to this, it's almost like a summer camp, but she finds out it's full of supernatural creatures, and we have witches and werewolves and ghosts and like tons of supernatural creatures, and there's like a dark reason she's there. Born at Midnight is addicting. Kylie's journal of self-discovery and friendship is full of honesty. It's impossible not to fall in love with her in Shadow Falls. And with 2 males vying her attention, the romance is scorching. This is also YA. Hex Hall by Rachel Hawkins. Only problem I did was I read Born at Midnight and then Hex Hall, and they're very similar. So that was the only problem, that I was like a little confused. This follows Sophie, who on her 12th birthday, she discovers she is a witch. She's exiled to Hex Hall, so it's a supernatural school. By the end of first day, Sophie has quite a scorecard. 3 powerful enemies who look like supermodels, a feudal crush on a gorgeous warlock, and a creepy tag-along ghost, and a new roommate who happens to be the most hated vampire on campus. It's so good, and I just remember the description. I took a picture of some of the descriptions because they just sounded so cool. And there was a dance, and like, I'm still looking for book 2 at the bookstore. And then there ends up being someone that ends up attacking the students, and it's like a mystery. It's so good. The Perfectionists by Shephard, one of my favorite authors. So I watched the show before I read the book, but the book was amazing, and I felt like the show really did a good job. We follow Mackenzie, Ava, Caitlin, Julie, and Parker. They're all driven no matter the cost. This is a high school, but it's like a boarding high school, Beacon Heights, Washington. And for some reason, these people that are in charge of the school decided they're gonna have cameras everywhere. They're gonna like really like keep everyone safe by having all this surveillance. Well, it ends up not being that great because someone gets murdered, and then they're like trying to figure out what happened. But it's like perfectionism at its worst. Like someone has to, you know, take a drug because they have to get the A's in the class, or they have to be able to stay up all night playing violin or something, whatever they play. So like, it's like perfectionism in a dangerous way, which I can relate to the perfectionism side. Would never want it to go dangerous, but it's so good. It's a mystery. I called it a thriller when I read it for readathon. After by Anna Todd. I actually just got these books in another cover. Tessa, for one thing, which is hilarious because my name's Teresa and sometimes Tessa's a nickname, although I don't get called Tessa. But I think her full name is Teresa, so that's kind of funny. She's a good girl with sweet, reliable boyfriend back home. So she goes to college. She's in her first year at college, and it's a boy-girl dorm, and she has her roommate who's a partier. She ends up meeting Hardin, who is a British bad boy kind of, and he's really like rude to her at first. But then, of course, enemies to lovers, and it's intense. It's a new adult, which I've learned is pretty close to adult. So, you know, be old enough to read it, but it's really good, and I want to read the whole series now. I've been getting into romance more lately. Me Before You by Jojo Moyes. We follow Louisa, who is an ordinary girl. She ends up getting a position as a caretaker for a quadriplegic boy, or guy. He's her age. And just seeing that story through her eyes, and you know, it's a romance, and watching the romance. And Will had this huge life. He was like, you know, mountain biking and doing like all of these crazy activities and skiing and like all this stuff, and then his life changed, which I think in a lot of ways I can relate to that. I mean, I'm not a quadriplegic, and I'm blessed that I'm not. My life changed in a blink of an eye, and I still miss my life with my friends and going out and just going to a restaurant and being able to sit up. So yeah. Anyway, this is an emotional book. I didn't cry. I think I'm a robot, but it's a good book. It's really good. Wow. Apparently I ran out of card space, so that's great. Okay, next. On to a happier book. We have Sight by Juliet Madison. This is book 1 in the Delta Girls series. Each book follows a certain sense. So when Savannah wakes up from 2 months in a coma, she has the ability to see visions. And she finds out that other siblings in her, other sisters in her family, that when they connect, they can see the whole vision together. And then, you know, they try to stop a mystery. Next we have The Chemist by Stephanie Meyer, one of my favorite authors. This is a, I guess kind of like a thriller. What's her name? What's her name? So Jess used to work for the US government, and she was a field expert, but she finds out one of the darkest secrets in the agency, and then she's on the run because they don't want her to know it because they're trying to kill her. It's amazing. Such a page turner. It's thrilling, but it's not like heart racing, which I don't like those type. The Spiderwick Chronicles, The Field Guide by Tony Dieter-Lizzie and Holly Black. Loved this. This is a middle grade book. It's just a quick 100-something page book, and this follows 3 siblings, 2 boys and a girl, who are moving to this creepy house, and they find out that there is students. This also has the movie Spiderwick Chronicles. They find out there's like fairies and different supernatural beings. It's really cute and it was really fun. It's not as scary as the movie. Next we have The Severance Game which is first by Gianna Culbertson. This is book 1 in the Chrysanta Night series. I loved this book. I'm still obsessed with this book. I'm still telling my friends to read it. Like, I read this for an author. She kindly sent me the book and these bookmark with her other books on them. This series is a series where Chrysanta Night, who is our main character, and we follow Chris, who is Cinderella's daughter, goes to a school for princesses and other protagonists. It's kind of random, but you get a prophecy and you'll be able to see what your life's going to be like. And she wants to change her destiny. She's not the average princess. She's not the big dress and singing to birds and all the princess stuff. She's, you know, she wears boots and she has a like special wand that she can turn into different weapons, and this follows fairy tale children and siblings, and it's really cool because it gives you all the like fairy tale elements that you know, but it's a whole nother story. And I loved this book. It was such an adventure. There were so many awesome things that happened. I was rooting for them, and I'm definitely going to be continuing with the series. We also have Blue, who is Little Red Riding Hood's sister, SJ. Then we have SJ, who is Snow White, so it's Snow White's daughter. Next we have The Cruel Prince, and the first book in the Folklore series. This is by Holly Black. This was my first like real fae book. I mean, I read one other one and I really liked it, but okay, obsessed. Jude witnesses a murder in the beginning of someone, and then she's taken with her other sister to the realm, they call it, or the hill or something, and her sister is actually part fae and she's just human. So she's a human living in this fae world, and fae have this ability to lie. They have to tell the truth, but they can like twist it. And there's just like so many elements of this series, to this book, that are just like awing and just really unique and different, and like they're beautiful fae, but they're also like so crazy. And then we have Carden, who is like the bad boy, and we learn that his, you know, character changes and grows. Yeah, Alright, last book in my favorite books. And the last one because it's amazing. It's fantabulous. First of all, look at the floppiness. Alright, so my friend on Bookstagram, A Paper Escape, she convinced me over and over and over and over again to read this series. Like, she's always posting about it. It's by Jennifer L. Armentrout. This is book 1 of Obsidian and book 2 Onyx. It's a bind-up. And I was like, oh, it looks really fun, I'll read it. But I don't like when I don't have books on audio because I like to be able to physically read and listen, because with my vertigo, I can't always physically read. So I was waiting. But then I saw Hoopla had it on audio, so I was able to listen and read. Amazing. Katie, the main character is Katie. She's a bookworm. She makes YouTube videos. I mean, come on. She is sassy and funny and sarcastic. Someone moves in next door, she moves in next door. Damon and the sister. Damon, who's another book boyfriend, and the sister move in, and one day she goes over there and introduces herself, and he doesn't have a shirt on, and she's like, okay, you're really beautiful, but you know, I'm just introduced, and he's kind of rude, and she's kind of like, yeah, well, I don't like you, right? So we are enemies to, hey, found a bookmark. So we got enemies to lovers again, and we find out, of course, you know, he's an alien. So an alien moves next door, and she's a human, and so human meets supernatural boy, and it's amazing. Okay, it's definitely like, I think older YA, and it has like some romance to it. Yeah, I want to read all the books now. It's really good. I don't know what else to say. Oh, the like government is like keeping them a secret, but there's like bad guys after them, and that's crazy. Okay, that was all my favorite books of 2020. Wow, 22 books is a lot, but out of 94, I'd say 22 is pretty good. My absolute favorites, as you can tell, is Lux, After, Cool Prince, Randy and Aileen, To All the Balls I Loved Before, and Shatter. Like, those are my 5, but oh, they were amazing. Like, everything was so good. Remember, you can find magic wherever you look. Sit back and relax. All you need is a book. If you could like this video, I would love for you to help me out with the algorithm. And if you could subscribe, we have a lot of fun here, and that would be awesome. Okay, I hope to see you in my next video. Bye!